Hey everybody, I started this a little bit early unintentionally. I hit the wrong button, but either way, here we go. Might as well go now, right? Okay, so well, I have new babies in my family, which is awesome. I've got a bunch of family up in Michigan, and within the last couple of years, we've had 2 sets of twins. So I'm super excited to get up there. Could be at the end of this year, but for sure spring of next year, to see all the new little babies. And within the last couple of weeks, gosh, has it been a week or 2 weeks? Anyway, we've had another set of twins. So this is a total of 2. It's a big family up there. Total of 2. So one of my family members asked me to do something on feeding baby food, because what she said was when they're finished breastfeeding, or when they're moving into feeding food, that she wants to make the baby's food. So I thought, well, this one's an easy one, because as far as I'm concerned, there's no reason to really make food, because you're just feeding food. So here's the deal. So we're going from breast milk. And I have a couple of articles that I, looked at just to, I'm not a baby expert. I don't have any of my own, but I know lots of people that have had babies. I've talked to lots of people about what to feed their babies and given some resources and that kind of thing. So that's what I'm going to do here, is I just want to give some resources for any of you who are looking to feed your baby real food, not pay the outlandish prices for the nasty over-processed baby food that's at the store, but let's make our own, just like we would anything else, right? Let's make our food at home. So we know that breastfeeding is the best. Breastfeeding gives good healthy fats, gives good probiotics, gives good enzymes. It helps to feed the brain. There's more DHA that feeds the brain in breast milk than, gosh, I think in anything else. So really, really important to breastfeed if at all possible. There are times, I get it, that that may not be possible. So I'm not going to get into this right now, but there are ways of making our own milk that is not as good, but it will suffice, instead of going to the store and buying the really expensive, terribly ineffective, terribly damaging baby formulas that are out on the market now. I haven't talked to anybody that knows of any good formula that's out on the market right now. I don't care how organic it is. I don't care what. It's kind of just all nasty stuff, full of sugar, full of the wrong sugars, full of the wrong fats, preservatives, all of this stuff. So it's best just to learn how to make your own if you're unable to breastfeed on your own, or if you need to supplement. There's also, this is kind of cool, and those of you that have had babies probably already know this, but there are donors. I have another family member who had an abundance of milk, and she is on the verge of stopping breastfeeding and is now mostly bottle feeding, but still has just an abundance of milk in the freezer. And so she knew someone that was having problems. She had really big problems, and she really wanted to breastfeed, so she donated her milk. I think that's awesome. I think that's a great thing to do. So let's move on to what we're going to talk about, and that's just talking about moving into making your own baby food. So really, all you need to do to make your own, let me start first. One of the things that I read that I didn't know, that I thought was interesting, and again, I'll post this, was that the first thing that's really great to start with as far as feeding baby real food is egg yolk. And I thought, that's super cool. It's super high in healthy fats and healthy cholesterols. It's full of nutrients. All of the nutrients in the egg are in the egg yolk. The white is protein, and the white, when people are sensitive or allergic to eggs, a lot of the time it's the white. So we don't want to start with the egg white. We want to do just the egg yolk. So doing the egg yolk, starting there, is a great place to start. Now, pay attention, because there are people that have sensitivities to the egg yolk as well. So you always want to pay attention when you're starting to feed new food. But in my opinion, and I think in most of the natural nutrition, integrative medicine, functional medicine world, I think most people would believe that the more baby's exposed to, the more dirt, the more dogs, the more stuff, it builds the immune system. So don't be afraid of baby being in the dirt. Don't be afraid of baby being around dog and playing and all this stuff. We want to build the immune system. And something else I want to touch on, I just go on forever, but something else I want to touch on is if you've had a C-section. Here's the thing. Naturally, what's supposed to happen is baby goes through the birth canal, through the and out the vagina, of course, and is inoculated with mom's probiotics, with all of her bacteria. Baby is essentially sterile inside, and when he or she comes out, that's when the immune system is inoculated. So what tends to happen with C-sections is that inoculation doesn't happen, and it's a different type of inoculation, different types of bacteria, because there's going to be exposure to bacteria. So a really, really great thing to do is get a good probiotic, which is a powder. You can get a good powdered probiotic, or if it's in a capsule, you can break the capsule open and put it on the nipple when you're feeding baby and start to inoculate him or her and help build that healthy gut bacteria, help build the immune system. Really important in helping to build the immune system. Okay, so let's see. Gone to egg yolk, a couple other things that we can do. Avocado. How cool. Avocado, sweet potato, all of these things, all of these soft foods, all you have to do is just mush them up. And this helps baby to learn to start to feed himself or herself. So it's really honestly that simple. You put it to their mouth, and I've got family members again that have done this. I've got friends and family that have done this. But they start to learn to feed themselves, and all you're doing is feeding them essentially what's on your plate. So if you're doing a steak and sweet potatoes with green beans, so start feeding the sweet potatoes, and then as baby starts to learn to feed him or herself, then you start to squish some green beans, because they're not quite as squishy as the sweet potatoes, right? So start just with the really squishy stuff. If you want to, now there's a book that I love. A colleague of mine and a girl that I interned with when I was in school, she wrote a book. It's called Baby Foodie. I'll post it as well. She and one of her counterparts, a photographer, but they wrote this book together. I should probably tell you who it is. So Sarah Peternell is who I worked with, and Michelle Olivier. And so they wrote this book together. It's beautiful. Michelle is a photographer. Sarah is a nutrition therapist, and the book is really beautiful. So it talks about cool combinations of foods and kind of how to get started, and the herbs and all of these things. So that's a really good resource. I tell a lot of my clients about this book. I'm looking at it now. I just think it's beautiful. So again, I'll post that as well. So, start with the soft things. As I said, there's no reason to go out of your way to make a bunch of stuff and make it difficult on yourself, or to spend a ton of money. Really, when you're cooking your meals, think about what baby can eat as well, and cook that, and you're just feeding baby what you eat. It's perfect, and it's easy. One of the things that you'll read in one of the articles that I will post is how a lot of parents think that starting with these rice meal baby foods are a good thing, because rice is supposed to be hypoallergenic and healthy and all of these things. What it does is it just spikes the blood sugar. It really doesn't give much nutrient. It's totally stripped. It's highly processed, spikes the blood sugar. What happens if we're spiking baby's blood sugar from essentially when he or she is off breast milk or moving off breast milk? I mean, this is creating all kinds of hell essentially in the body. And that's what we want to stay away from. Real food, natural food. Don't fall for the marketing gimmicks, because that's what that stuff is. It's a marketing gimmick, and it makes me crazy, obviously. Let's see, what else? So I will post, here's something that I want to tell you. One of my very favorite websites that I go to when I'm looking for food information. So, and some science. I mean, she's got some science, a lot of science actually. She's really good. But one of the articles that I'll post is from Wellness Mama. I don't know her, but I want to know her. I think she's amazing. I have learned so much from her when it comes to the healthy things to do around the house. I make my own toothpaste. I learned it from Wellness Mama. I make my own laundry detergent and my own. I'm about to make my own dish detergent, and I learned it from Wellness Mama. It's the easiest thing. It's so cheap, and so she has lots of cool baby stuff as well. And so the article that I'll post is my guide to healthy baby foods and how to introduce solids. So cool article. She's amazing. I think she's amazing, and I tell everybody that I can about her. One day maybe I'll get to meet her. Let's see. Another one that I thought was interesting that I'll post. I don't really know if everybody. It's sort of the same topic, but it's really just more baby stuff. But I thought it was really cute. So it's an article called hold on, baby products you actually need, and then what you can live without. So really fun stuff. She just makes a lot of sense in what she does. So if there's ever something that you're looking for that you want to make yourself that's around the household, if you're looking for a natural pesticides, which I made recently, and I would assume she has something like that, but she's got a little bit of everything, and she gives lots of resources and lots of references. So love her. The other one that I'm going to post is by a doctor. He's an MD, but he also does some integrative medicine. His name is Dr. Mercola. Most people have heard of him. He's pretty well known. He's all over the internet, but he's got some pretty good stuff. So some ideas that he had were, obviously, as I said, mashed avocado, sweet potato, cooked carrots and peas. And then, what else? So then later on, you can start cooking like some greens and some chard and collards and spinach, squashes. So even cooked, they might be a little bit harder. So you can do, I love butternut squash, one of my favorite things. But those are really great. Mashed asparagus, raw nut butters, seaweeds after they've been soaked. Let's see, and then once baby is figuring out, then you start to do little pieces of meat, and of course, make sure it's pastured and organic and all of that stuff, because we want to start baby out well and healthy. As you know, if you've heard me talk, and I will only hit on this briefly, but I have videos on this, but briefly, hey Natalie, so beef, meat in general, so whether it's beef, chicken, or whatever, but I'm going to talk about beef. If it is grass-fed, it is a natural, normal body composition. It's got all of the, it's biochemically sound. There's no inflammation. It's a healthy animal. If we move them into the grains that they don't naturally eat and off of grass, to fatten them up and all this stuff, I'm not going to get into the GMOs or the antibiotics and all of that stuff. But just by changing their food into a food that's not natural, then they become obese, they lose all of their good healthy body composition, and they become inflamed. And literally when we eat that, it's a biochemical transformation. That's what happens to us. So if we're eating high omega-6s, which is what they are, which is what creates inflammation, or it's a precursor to inflammation, then we will be higher in omega-6 as well, which then we will become inflamed. So understand that when I'm talking about eating these healthy meats and why we eat them, it's not some woo-woo thing, I'm an animal lover. Yes, of course I am. But it is a true biochemical fact that their lack of health creates our lack of health, if that's what we're eating. Okay, I'll stop there on that one. I think that's probably all I want to hit on. It seems really simplistic, and I think because it is. And again, I'm not the one. I haven't had little munchkins, but I've been around lots of family that have and watched them do the transition. And it's really fun to watch them go from just, eating their breast milk to eating food. It should be a pretty easy transition. So I'll give some resources as always. Post below if you have any questions, if you need anything from me, if there are other topics that you want me to talk about. That's actually really helpful for me because I don't know, I sometimes don't think outside of the box, and if there are things that you want to hear that I don't know that you want to hear, then that helps me have something to talk about. And I want to help as much as I can. I really enjoy educating. I think that's the biggest reason why I became a nutritionist, is because I want to help educate the masses on what is truly healthy, because there's so much misinformation out there, from baby food to our food to dog food. It's crazy. And marketing, there are marketing geniuses out there. They spend tons and tons and tons of money, and it is screwing with our bodies. So let's get the real stuff out there. Let's be our own advocates, and let's feed our kiddos and our families and our furry family members the way we should, with just real good healthy food, and enjoy it. Food's great. So let me know if you have questions. You can go to my website, tastelifenutrition.com, or of course my Facebook page, tastelifenutrition.com, and we will see you next time. Bye guys.